Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's on every parent's mind. How do we raise a confident child? Well, it turns out one of the most powerful tools you have is something you're already using every single day, your words. Let's get into it. So let's start with the big central idea right here. Just think about this for a second. The way you talk to your child, your tone, your energy, the actual words you choose is literally building the inner voice they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. It's a pretty powerful thought, isn't it? And really, this boils down to a fundamental choice we make with our language. Are we helping them build an inner critic, that voice that's always pointing out flaws? Or are we helping them cultivate an inner coach, one that encourages them through all of life's challenges? The difference is absolutely huge. And it all starts with us. So how does this actually happen? Let's break down how this works, starting right at the foundation, how your voice, your tone, your energy literally becomes their inner voice. No, this is not about just showering them with empty praise or ignoring when they make mistakes. Not at all. It's about becoming a detective for their effort. That means you're actively looking for and pointing out their persistence, their strategies, and their hard work. You're helping them see for themselves what's working so they can do more of it. Okay, now for a really interesting part. There's a subtle but incredibly powerful shift in language that can completely rewire a child's motivation. And you know what it all comes down to? It's about what we choose to praise, their talent or their effort. So when you say something like, "You're so clever," you mean well, of course. But what they can hear is that intelligence is just this fixed thing you either have or you don't. And that can actually make them afraid to try hard things, because what if they fail and don't look clever? But when we praise their effort, we teach them that success comes from hard work, and that's something they are in complete control of. And all of this focus on effort, it's all about building what's called a growth mindset. It's this powerful belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. When kids really believe this, challenges become opportunities to grow, not scary tests of their worth. And praising their effort is the key that unlocks that whole mindset. So what's actually happening on a deeper level when we use this kind of language? Well, the science here is pretty incredible. Let's dig into 4 ways that encouraging words can literally transform how a child's brain works and how they feel. Okay, first up, it builds internal motivation. When you praise their effort, they stop doing things just to get your approval, and they start doing it for themselves. They start taking ownership of their own growth. They really do move from, "Ugh, do I have to, "Hey, look what I can do." I mean, think about a phrase like this. Hearing this teaches a child to connect that feeling of struggling, not with failure, but with a feeling of pride in their own resilience. What a gift, right? That's a total game changer. All right, number 2. This is amazing. It literally changes their brain chemistry. Encouraging words help open up the neural pathways for learning and curiosity. Criticism does the exact opposite. It triggers a stress response that basically slams the door on the parts of the brain needed for focus and memory. Simple words like these keep a child's mind relaxed and open and ready to learn. Now, contrast that with something like, "You weren't paying attention." Oof, you can almost feel the brain shutting down, right? That kind of phrase can trigger a stress response that stops the learning process cold. So third, it's not just about them, it's about you too. This kind of language strengthens your relationship. You move from being the boss who's just handing down orders to being a team. This creates this incredible sense of emotional safety, which is really the foundation for any kind of genuine, lasting motivation. And it can be so simple. Just acknowledgments like this are so powerful. They send a really clear message. I see you, and I'm on your team. And that feeling of being seen and supported, that's what really builds trust and cooperation. And finally, number 4. The way you talk to them when they're struggling becomes the blueprint for how they'll talk to themselves for the rest of their lives. You are literally modeling the voice that will be in their head forever. So when they hear you say something like this over and over, they're learning how to speak to themselves with hope and kindness, especially when things get tough. It's a gift they'll carry with them long after you've left the room. Okay, so we get the why, but what about the how? What does this actually sound like in real life? In the heat of the moment when homework is a nightmare and everyone's getting frustrated. Let's get practical and look at a toolkit of phrases. Okay, this toolkit is just fantastic. I mean, look at the one for making a mistake. Perfect! Mistakes mean we're stretching your brain. Can you imagine hearing that as a kid instead of a sigh or a correction? It completely reframes failure into a good thing, as a necessary part of growth. These aren't just words, they're little opportunities to build connection instead of conflict. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is a lot to remember, especially when you're stressed. So, how do we actually make this a habit? Well, the source material has a really simple, practical exercise for this. It's a super simple 3-step process. First, just pick a few phrases from that list, or make up your own that feel natural to you. Second, write them down on sticky notes. Put them on the fridge, on your computer, wherever you'll see them. And third, just start using them. The goal isn't to be perfect overnight. It's just about practicing. And over time, it'll just become how you talk. And here's the really fun part. As you start trying this, put on your detective hat again. Just pay attention. Watch their body language. Do you see their shoulders relax? Does their tone of voice change when you shift from correcting them to genuinely encouraging their effort? Which phrases actually make their eyes light up? That's your feedback. So let's end with this. The language you use today really does become the inner language they'll use tomorrow. Every single word you speak is an investment. You're not just getting through tonight's homework, you are building the confident, resilient inner voice they're going to rely on for their entire life. You are literally speaking their future confidence into existence.